So this is just going to be a quick rundown of a bunch of drugs because I just need to reiterate a few of them. Mostly what I know would be beta-lactams, so you can break that into other categories. The biggest one we're probably going to get into is cephalosporins. There's 5 generations and we have to know what's in each generation. The other categories of beta-lactams, you have your penicillins, cephalosporins, carbapenems, and monobactams, and then there's another category of beta-lactam inhibitors, but we'll get into that later. So we can start with cephalosporins real quick. The first generation are cefazolin and cephalexin. We're just going to remember that because they end with IN, and then you have to get in to start. All the cephalosporins start with C, and most of them start with CEF. The only exception is cephalexin is CEPH. Groups 2 and 3 I don't remember as well. I know group 3 can cross into the CNS, which is your central nervous system. But 2 is cefuroxime, cefotaxin, cefotoxetin, cefalcor, and cefprozil. I'll have to come up with some mnemonics. I'm not going to bother with 3 because there's a lot more and I don't have a mnemonic yet and I don't have more specific information to pass on yet. 4 is cefapime because it sounds like cefapine and pine cones. I don't know, they have 4 letters, pine and cone, but it could just be silly mnemonic. But cefapime is your cephalosporin number 4, like 4th generation. Your 5th generation is ceftaroline because it sounds like Caroline. I don't know, but that's your 5th generation. Penicillins, you have your narrow and your broad. So you have penicillin G, which is good for syphilis, penicillin V, cloxacillin, methicillin, nafacillin. So I know the nafacillin is used with 2 other ones to treat something. This is, we're finding lots of, my knowledge is Swiss cheese right now because we're finding all the holes. The broad spectrum are amoxicillin, ampicillin, piperacillin, and ticaracillin, which I think is not available in the US anymore, or it's not used very frequently. But piperacillin is usually used with another one that starts with tazo, because you have your pipe and your tea to relax, but those 2 go together when they're being prescribed. Amoxicillin, broad spectrum, usually prophylactic. And okay, penicillin, cephalosporins done. Carbapenems, I didn't finish writing all my notes for this, but imipenem is one and it's used with a statin usually. And it has something to do with a seizure risk, but don't quote me on that. Monobactams, there's only one, it's aztreonam, and that's used usually if people have allergies to penicillins, I want to say. Or I could be mixing that up with azithromycin. Yeah, all the AZ, there's like another AZ drug, but that's not how they're categorized, so I have to make a map and get a little more clear with this. And then you have your beta-lactamase inhibitors, clavulanate and tazobactam. Oh, there's your tazo. So tazobactam goes with your piperacillin when they usually get prescribed. And then there's a few more beta-lactamase inhibitors, but they aren't really highlighted as important. I'm like double checking some notes. Oh, we have macrolides. So we have beta-lactam, beta-lactamase inhibitors. Macrolides is another category. That's your azithromycin, erythromycin. So those tend to get prescribed for think that's the one. If you can't tolerate beta-lactam, you get your macrolides as your backup antibiotics. I feel like azithromycin's pretty catch-all, but I could be wrong again. Erythromycin, I want to say that's the one that off-brand gets prescribed for kind of like improving your motility. So if your GI system, if things aren't moving along, they'll give you this and it'll kind of move things along, even if it's not pretty. I know, I want to say erythromycin they will also give topically, or like azithromycin too, but erythromycin, I want to say there's like a eye drop version to fight some kind of infection that way. Yeah, I have a lot of holes in my knowledge. Okay, I was like coming in hot, ready to go, and now I'm gotta go back. And then I'll go through one more category of antibiotic is your cell wall synthesis inhibitors. So that's your vancomycin, daptomycin, fosfomycin, and then there's some other ones that aren't as common. Vancomycin, that seems to be pretty used for a lot of broad spectrum. Daptomycin, I had remembered what it was for, but now I don't. And then I'll make better notes for next time so it's not as chaotic, hopefully. But alright, hopefully that's just a brain dump, so it is what it is. Alright, bye.